Backstab is a name to watch.
Another lightning deck. So CMcHugh, and I'll start setting these guys up. CMcHugh is bringing a similar to the, I guess, the minor control decks that we saw before, but has opted this time to not bring Inferno Tower and instead be a little bit more aggressive using lightning and more cheapy swarm troops like minions to help assist the minor pushes. What's going on over on Vizard's side?
Vizard looks like he's using a Hog Cycle. I mean, it's a double threat Hog Mini P.E.K.K.A deck. And I was trying to look for the Musketeer because you almost kind of always see that, but it's definitely not a triangle defense.
This is actually, this might be almost like a turbo hog cycle if I'm really looking at it, because you have both skeletons and Ice Spirit and Zap, and then if you think about it, Elixir Collector allows for, once you get a collector or two out, to really get those cycles going because you get that extra 2 elixir to go. Yeah. The cheapest possible cycle that Vizard can run between hogs is 7. 7, like that is nothing, right? And there's no cannon on CMcHugh's side either.
Yeah. So the interesting thing to always think about for hog cycles is that they're really, really, really great out the gates, right? They're very
the first hog can be
fast.
the best hog.
Yeah. And then the other part of that is they get incredibly more terrible as the game goes on, especially if you have multiple sources of damage coming in from defensive structures.
Absolutely.
So either the King Tower is activated or the Hog Rider gets drawn to the middle. And especially with cycling decks, you do not have cards to support that tankiness, right? So your Hog Rider really becomes less and less effective as the game plays out. So we really need to look for Vizard to take an early lead.
Oh, hold on. Oops. Keep on the commentating.
All right, we got the guards coming in on the left side, and the miner actually does connect for CMcHugh. So Vizard is going to be down a collector, but he is running a hog deck, so that's not going to be the most terrible thing in the world. It's just a good trade for CMcHugh. Mini P.E.K.K.A tries to make a swing, but doesn't get it. Between the tower and the princess, the Mini P.E.K.K.A can't make its way across far enough to get a swing. Another hog loaded up in the chamber, and Vizard, does he want to play aggressive or does he want to try to get a collector up? I don't really know what he has in terms of good collector defense. Maybe the skeletons, but that's very easily zappable. 2 swings from this hog is going to be it. Gets a third one. Nice.
Very nice. So CMcHugh finds himself in a pretty bad situation, even though he has a collector out with under 1,000 damage left on this tower with a minute and a half left. The pressure's really on CMcHugh to try to catch up at least one of these 2 towers. He's done a decent amount of damage to both towers, but as we saw in the last game, you know, the only hit point that matters is the last hit point.
Yeah. All right, Hog Skeleton is going to be pushed with the Ice Spirit. Doesn't get zapped, but tags onto the guards instead of the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Hog Rider doesn't get anywhere, and now you have to deal with the counter push. That Mini P.E.K.K.A is pretty healthy.
Skeletons, very nice pull with those skeletons. Skeletons have really fallen out of favor with the popularity of Ice Spirit, but that's a great lightning, by the way.
Yeah.
They took 3 plus however many pumps were left on that thing.
Yeah.
But skeletons have kind of fallen out of favor because people have subbed it out for Ice Spirit. But when you consider you can have both in the deck, that's a lot of opportunities for your deck to get like 1 for 3,
double threat, double threat. Play the guards on the left. Play the guards on the left.
He does.
And 2 swings on the right. And this is why Hog Cycle is great.
Wow, those 1-cost skeletons are really going to prevent those Mini P.E.K.K.As from ever getting close to the tower.
Yeah. This miner is tagging onto the left side
tower.
However,
However, look at how much damage that's taken.
Yeah. And I think that's going to... Oh, my God. So Vizard is in a really bad spot right now. If we imagine...
the miner lightning combo. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
If Vizard wants to continue his lifetime in this game, that left side tower for Vizard is definitely gone, right? There's no way that that's going to survive into overtime.
No.
So Vizard has to play this two tower active game now. Hog Riders are absolutely terrible at surviving King Tower, Crown Tower damage.
Yeah, you're actually right. Like, this probably favors CMcHugh now, whereas before I would say if it's a 1-tower game, the Hog deck has more success.
Yeah, that lightning.
I love that, because I was saying earlier about how I liked Miner Fireball, because Miner Fireball allowed you to send the Miner and then just Fireball whatever they play. I would argue Miner Lightning is like kind of better, because what do you do at 10 Elixir, right? You go Miner their Collector, and they're like, oh, here's a Mini P.E.K.K.A, buddy. And you're like, all right, like, nail all of this.
Got the tower, got the Collector, got the Mini P.E.K.K.A.
And given that Lightning takes 6 pumps off, even if they defend the Miner, Elixir Collector, hitting the Lightning on the Elixir Collector is going to pretty much full kill the Elixir Collector.
Yeah.
Only going to get 1 pump out of it.
Absolutely. Oh, God.
Double Lightnings are shaking the board, shaking me too.
Yeah, really. Here comes a hog skeleton.
Ooh, no, okay. I like the poison there on the princess because those skeletons were not really going to get anywhere.
And almost at this point, you're incentivized to play cards in the back behind your crown tower as a cycle deck, just because you need more pushing power once you go across a bridge. And I think Vizard is having a wow.
Ooh, those
his crown
are
tower
just like thumping one after the other.
Man.
He's just cycling them now. It almost seems like.
Yeah, CMcHugh is just pumping in damage on both the structures. Both the king tower and the crown tower are really low.
Even through the poison. If you look at this right here, even though he's taking 1 to 2, I think it's just 1 hit, maybe one hog swing. The Vizard's hogs are kind of a bad run. It's like 8 elixir. It's hog plus poison, 8 elixir, getting countered by 4 elixir, and he's only getting 1 swing for it. I think that's what's really killing Vizard in these later rounds.
Yeah, Hog Rider's gonna go for the collector, and this
again,
is
like watch this. It gets 1 hit, 2 hit, even with the poison, and that's just not worth 8 elixir. And that's really what's separating CMcHugh from Vizard here in overtime.
Vizard needs to build up a stronger support base of troops for the Hog Rider before he can. Oh, there's a zap. Yep. He just needed to play a stronger support because you need much more pushing power after your first tower is down. This is one of the biggest weaknesses for Hog Cycle. So if you think about the times when Hog Cycle was popular, oftentimes games would go 1-0. Right? And one of the big reasons for that is that Royal Giant didn't exist. And so Royal Giant is kind of one of those cards that has this inevitability about it, You play the Royal Giant, you get damage on the tower. Eventually, if you trade
hard to make it do 0 damage.
If you trade 1-on-1, then you're put in this situation where Royal Giant becomes incredibly more effective and Hog Rider becomes incredibly more ineffective. You almost always lose that situation in Hog Cycle.
Yeah, that's something that is actually, speaking of these now, so we're going into game 2 of Vizard versus CMcHugh. 3 Musketeer decks don't really have that problem, actually. They're like Royal Giants where they can take the first tower, and then when it comes to taking the second tower, huge advantage because of the forward deployment zone.
I almost wonder if there's a world where some kind of version of the Triangle Defense deck swaps out for some cheaper cards and gets the 3 Musketeers instead, gives you a very good way to invest into the future by splitting the 3 Musketeers, and then you identify where you want to support your troops and place a Hog Rider there. Then you get this ability to have big pushing power, also have a card that's really great when the tower is down, so you can aggressively deploy the 3 Musketeers and give you a much more flexible set of options.
We have a pretty cool match that we haven't seen a lot of, a matchup that we definitely don't have a ton of footage of in the past. A 3 Musketeers mirror match. And actually, this is a minor Princess 3 Musketeers Zap Ice Spirit mirror match. 5 of the 8 cards between these two decks are similar. The only differences are Vizard is running Ice Wizard and Knight, and Mini Peck as well. Man, there might be 6 cards identical between these two lists. So the only differences is Knight and Knight and Ice Wizard compared to Barbs and Fire Spirit. And they both fill similar roles, right? The Barbs and the Knight are tanks. The Fire Spirit and the Ice Wizard are splash damage, defensive primarily. So I think this is actually going to come down to who is the better counter player, who can split push a little better. One of the cards that I really like in CMcHugh's list is that Barbs are very good against the double Musketeer side, and that's a 5 for 6, regardless of whatever else comes out of the other side.
If Star Wars is still spoiling the match, if the mods could time him out.
He got time. I think he did.
Yeah, that's really not cool.
Well, no, actually that's fine. Like if people want to do that, we'll just have live top 4s, right? Like we actually moved to this recording of the top 8 and then showing all the matches because we thought it was more friendly to the players. But if the players can't help but spoil the matches, we'll just go back to a live top 4. But that means they got to wait around for an hour until we get there. So. Yeah. It's up to you players whether or not you want to do it. But just definitely try to keep the authenticity of the broadcast by not spoiling it. Some of the finals are played maybe like a half hour before they get broadcast. But that's okay, because if you're watching this on YouTube or other things, you don't see the chat.
You'll never know. You'll never know. All right. Still, I think the real juice is in how they win.
Yes, I mean honestly, if I just told you that I don't even know who wins this, right? Because I haven't looked. But if I just told you hey, Woody won a tournament, what does that do for you to become a better player? So I like CMcHugh splitting of the Musketeers by the river, and wait to see them split against each other.
Man,
wow, I don't see that a lot.
Wow.
And that actually heavily favored the defensive player.
Yeah. He had the tower to help out.
Yeah, only 1 Musketeer really took a significant amount of
Unfortunately, the low health Musketeer was the one that ran across first. Nice! Ice Spirit took down the Fire Spirits, and the Musketeer survives and gets a lot of damage solo.
Man, I'm really liking Knight. Knight has been really popularized by Darth Jar Jar on some of the other lists. That's, to me, like...
It's interesting because to me, so Darth Jar Jar was kind of like the Three Musketeers, like, he was the big supporter of it. And he used Knight in one of his decks. Angry Groceries was a big Balloon supporter, and he also used Knight in one of his decks.
Yeah, I remember that, actually. What happened to Angry Groceries? So Angry Groceries was someone who top forward a couple SMCs ago with 2 Balloon decks, and I was hoping that Balloon would kind of become a much more popular archetype, but I think the rise of Three Musketeers prevented that. Look at that Mini P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah.
That Mini P.E.K.K.A. just chopped down 6 Elixir worth of Musketeers on the enemy side of the field.
Yeah, that was incredibly effective. Incredibly effective. Let's see. 10 Elixir. CMcHugh is dropping the ice cream.
Let's see. Does that Musketeer survive? That'll be a huge difference. Yes,
Oh,
that
God.
low health Musketeer is a huge threat now, assuming that, McHugh's already spent the Elixir trying to kill it. I think it's unfortunate that he had to zap there because that zap could have been probably used, better. But you can't just let that low health Musketeer behind a Knight shoot at your tower a bunch.
Yeah, all right. He opts to trade the Princess. Vizard does not zap.
Yep.
He's gonna
all 3.
okay.
I think Vizard is starting to get the read that McHugh does not have Fireball or Poison.
Yeah, he has Ice Spirit, Fire Spirit though. And
Oh, the Miner in the middle. Is there a zap as well? Oh, the Ice Spirit though counters.
Oh
the other
no,
zap.
they survive, and the Knight is tanking, but not quite enough.
Oh wow, that's
so
a
close.
total wipe. Indeed, I'll give you that one. That was an unexpected sequence of plays right there.
That was actually really, really close. McHugh did an incredible defense. I mean, Vizard was on the precipice of doing big damage.
Ooh, and that Musketeer on the right side, unfortunately, took a few more hits than he probably wanted to take.
Ooh,
Ice Spirit got shot. Oh, and the Fire Spirits blow up the last one. Who's going to survive, though? The Miner comes in to help tweak, and Vizard comes out ahead on this one.
Yeah,
One
he gets
shot,
2 shots.
2 shot.
All right, nice defense by Vizard.
Yeah, and the tower's already locked on the Mini P.E.K.K.A. You don't really care about the Miner that much. The Miner overall doesn't really do that much damage to towers. It's not a primary damage source. It's a tank more than anything.
Absolutely. It's the danger that's coming across the bridge that you really need to watch for. Princess will win that duel by the Ice Spirit. Okay, they're both going to the weaker side.
The 2v1s, yeah, I wonder how that's going to shake out. I love the Miner there, though, helping clean up that side, leaving the one Musketeer free to range. The Mini P.E.K.K.A. that has been played to defend the solo Musketeer is already gone. Oh, the Musketeer lives!
Oh,
gets another shot off.
Slowly but surely.
All 4 towers are actually significantly damaged. Like, it's hard to say where this game's going to end. It's almost like if I was a pool player and I had to be like, oh, yeah, corner pocket. Like, there's not a clear tower that people are going for.
Yeah.
And that's the power of split pushing decks. It's hard to predict where they're going to go.
Yeah, and I don't even think that the player playing the deck necessarily knows. I think it's more of an opportunistic thing, right? You just have to identify where your opponent invests Elixir and try to go to the other lane.
Look at that. The bottom left tower just took 1,000 damage, mostly just from reacting to what the opponents are doing and trying to find good openings.
The question is, the Princess very nearly locked onto that tower, and any single point of damage on that left side tower is going to be lethal.
Yeah, I bet McHugh wishes he was playing his Lightning deck this round.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice
great zap. Oh, here comes 2
Musketeers.
What can stop them? Even a Mini P.E.K.K.A. might actually get shot to death. Nope, psych. It's just killing them. Nah, Mini P.E.K.K.A. just kills them all.
And that Miner is actually doing significant damage. Need to play the Mini P.E.K.K.A. against it and maybe zap.
Ooh, wow, it's defended. 164 left. There's only zap in McHugh's deck. It's outside the range here.
Needs to go for a win.
That could be really good, though. Oh, it's all 2 by the river. Look at that.
Oh, no. But the...
Oh, there's one on the left side.
My God.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
No. Oh, my God.
Vizard ties it up 1-1. We're going to a game 3. And will my pick and the crowd favorite, CMcHugh, get knocked out here in the top 8 round? I'm not sure.
Oh, no. God, I think McHugh had such an advantage.
Here we go. Game 3 of Vizard versus McHugh. Wow. So McHugh has to continue playing his 3 Musketeer decks. Vizard has to switch from the primary list to the secondary list. Secondary list is this turbo cycle deck that I think we saw in the first game. So he switched for game. Vizard switched for game 2, and now is switching back for game 3 because he has to get a win with this list.
Yeah. He has to play the Hog.
McHugh's still. We're gonna keep the 3 Musketeers up. I think that's easily the most key card in the deck. No barbs this time, so what do you got, Vizard?
It's probably either the Hog or the... Well, maybe it does come down to defending the Elixir Collector. I think defense is very key for Vizard.
Yeah.
Hog Rider Mini P.E.K.K.A. and I think having the fast cycle...
I mean, big shout out, by the way, to Mini P.E.K.K.A, because we saw Mini P.E.K.K.A kill 2 Musketeers several times. Mini P.E.K.K.A's single swing almost one-hits a Musketeer. So with any supporting troops, which sometimes is, a Zap, a Princess Splash, anything like that, is, the difference between a one-hitting Mini P.E.K.K.A and sitting there having to swing twice. Yeah. With any amount of supporting damage, those Mini P.E.K.K.As can clear out 3 Musketeers pretty quick.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. Doing the splits. We're splitting. Vizard, what is your next play? He's going to put Princess in the back.
And there's no CMcHugh has poison in the... No, he does not have poison in the list this time. Vizard does have poison, though, to deal with 3 Musketeers should that come up.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that McHugh doesn't have poison there because there were some very opportunistic ones, right?
Yeah.
The Elixir Collector and the Princess could have really nailed each other.
Trade.
Opts to not zap. They're just going to let them both go. McHugh could have zapped, but he's already a little behind in Elixir, and I wonder... It's probably smart not to because you don't want to fall that much further behind.
Yeah. And really, Hog Riders depend on being ahead in Elixir. You really want to make sure that you're committing your Elixir advantage to the Hog Rider rather than anything else.
Sure.
So Vizard, I mean, as we kind of identified in the first time they played, losing a tower is really, really bad for Vizard. Or rather, having to take down...
That's right.
Having to go to 2 crown towers.
Vizard wants to win 1-0, not have to play for a 2-1 or 3-1 victory because the much higher damage and extra shot of the King Tower makes it harder to take the second tower for Hog Rider decks.
So being aggressive is great for Vizard, but he needs to make sure he keeps his own tower health very, very high.
Right. Doesn't actually want to trade 1 for 1, though. Yeah. Great job by McHugh to win that duel.
Kind of what we were talking about when we were kind of thinking about Hog Freeze, you really want to push all in right when you know the game is going to close out so your opponent has no opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah.
Because if you make that trade too early, if you're willing to one-on-one that trade too early, you get actually the short end of the stick.
Right. Hey, great placement by McHugh there. I was expecting the Miner to end up where the Mini P.E.K.K.A was.
Yeah.
I would have played the Mini P.E.K.K.A in the same spot. And that little difference there gets you getting, 1 to 2 shots. Pretty key. Whoa, this poison, though, is coming in pretty hard. I think that Mini P.E.K.K.A... Oh, okay. Man. Good save there with the Fire Spirits.
I actually thought there was an Ice Spirit there that froze a Hog Rider, but the skeletons behind weren't frozen. I actually thought the skeletons were going to run in front and guard the swing from the Mini P.E.K.K.A, which would have been really bad for Hugh.
I think Ice Spirit one-hits skeletons at tournament cap, but I'm not sure. Wow, great use of the Mini P.E.K.K.A there, or the 3 Musketeers to stop the Hog Rider, but as we mentioned, poison plus any splash damage, a single Princess shot kills them all, and I think McHugh finds himself pretty far behind now after losing his 9 Elixir card in a blink of an eye.
Has a Princess just tagging away, and that's what we were talking about when we talk about Princess. They're basically a mini mortar.
Wow, that's a lot of Elixir for Vizard, but it was worth it to take a tower with 10 seconds left. He spent Ice Spirit, Zap, Poison, and Hog Rider. Over 10 Elixir, but it was able to push through damage with 10 seconds left. And an upset in the top 8 round. Vizard, who has only top 8'd before, never made a top 4, makes his first top 4 by upsetting prior winner CMcHugh. Excellent again. That is why we watch the Super Magical Cup, is to see the best players in Clash Royale bump into each other, and you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. So when you think about, previously, before the Ice Spirit existed, Barbarians against Hog Rider was almost a blowout every single time you played your Hog Rider. But with the inclusion of the Ice Spirit, you don't have the onus to pre-fire a Fireball, for example, which makes the execution on that incredibly easy. The fact that the Ice Spirit only costs 1 Elixir, and then you can kind of confirm the success of your push, right? Because then you see the Ice Spirit freeze the Barbarians, and you're like, okay, well, I can play Poison now, right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's exactly what happened, and the Hog Rider gets an immense amount of swings on the tower, despite the fact that the Barbarians are there. Good recognition by Vizard to really push that through.
Trying to figure out what are these key card callouts.